So I think if you're aspiring to start an e-commerce business, you should, if you're busy, you have a high corporate flyer, I think you should just count your numbers, see how much you can invest in your venture, right? And then if you can, try to explore and work with partners that could, accelerate your learning curve. Right? For example, if there are fulfillment partners that can help you pick and pack where you're busy because you don't want to be picking and packing yourself, right? And the cost, the value that you earn per hour will be higher than if you were packing. So you need to take that into consideration. I would also suggest that if you don't have experience with e-commerce, you should and must find a mentor.
Hey Coconuts, welcome to Chills with TFC. I'm your host Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut. And today we are joined with Elvin, right? Apparently, your company sells hundreds of millions, in like health products, right?
Yes.
That's the situation. That's why you are here.
Yeah, really excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Reggie.
Nice.
Long ago, I was still in SMU.
Yeah, long ago,
Yeah, very old already now.
2004, not many digital marketing.
Oh yeah. But the time I was still studying in SMU, and actually, what happened was my ex-girlfriend then, she was sick, so I was like staying up at night, giving her medication every 6 hours. So I was just online googling how to make money online, literally typing that, and then I saw a website came up. I remember the name of that program. It was called Silent Sales Machine. It was a US business owner teaching people how to sell things on eBay and make money on eBay. So I just buy the program, trust the guy, and I think thankfully that kind of era, that time, less scams. It was true. So
Shout out to all you fake gurus. Right? These days a bit too many. Okay?
Yeah, so I just followed whatever he taught. And interestingly enough, I was able to make about $2,000 to $3,000 a month while still studying at SMU.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What were you selling on eBay?
So I started, so back then you could actually buy things like eBooks. So you buy like rights to eBooks, which are digital things.
Shit, okay.
And then you sell them on eBay. You sell them like $1, $2, $3, and people buy them. I was so surprised. And then of course, over time, I started selling some CD material. It's something called subliminal CDs, like hypnosis CDs. Not sure whether you heard about that.
Bro, CD is already
CD,
already.
Oh no!
CD, you know which era?
I revealed my age. Right? Oh my god! Yeah, that's true.
Okay. I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I started selling that kind of hypnosis, kind of personal development CDs. I bought the rights. I burn them myself, stick the sticker, and then when people buy, then we'll ship them. Mainly US eBay lah. Yeah. So after that, I guess I caught the bug in the sense that I realized, can actually make money, $2,000 to $3,000 a month while still studying. Maybe I can do a full-time job with this, So after graduation, I just went out full-time to pursue digital marketing.
What were your next few ventures?
Wow, a lot of failed ventures. At first, at the start, I did I thought I could do some consulting. So we did SEO back then, consulting. So partner with a friend. I think we had Yellow Pages, gone already, that era. As a client.
I feel nostalgia today, right? Got CD, got Yellow Pages.
So did some of that consulting, like an agency, but I realized I wasn't really cut out for that kind of work because I'm not really good with people talking and then selling. So I like to do more back-end work lah. So tried that for a while, that didn't work out so well, and then eventually I started moving on to selling products online to the US market, mainly in the personal development field. So you go to a bookshop, there's this self-help area, like Anthony Robbins, Jack Canfield, that kind of be more confident, self-esteem, peak performance. So we started working with some authors to create digital like eBooks, audio, video programs, and then we mainly sold them to the US market. So that's what we did.
The Koyo doesn't sell here.
Harder. Yeah. I think in general, to be honest, I don't know how to sell in Singapore or Asia because I learned from American how to sell to Americans. So we followed the same model, and the way we sell is a bit, I would say, different in the sense that, I'm not sure. This is also, you heard of QVC?
Yeah, I know QVC.
So like television, those kind of on cable TV, where they have the advertisement, they say
whole day just running.
Yeah.
Sell. This
Correct.
is what, that is what.
Buy now, there's a bonus, blah blah. Call in.
Yeah, call in now.
Yes. So I think Singapore last time got a bit.
They tried. Taiwan also has quite a bit.
Oh,
of
really?
those
I didn't know
things.
that. Okay. But US more prevalent, more common last time. And so we actually use that model, meaning that we create videos, this kind like buy now, get bonus, not call in, but click on the buy button. And then, of course, the only difference is we put those videos on the website and we sell it through that method lah. Yeah, so that was our model for quite some time.
Interesting. Wait, can you explain a little bit how is it different selling here as compared to selling there? Like, I mean, you live here in Singapore.
Sure.
You probably entertain this idea before. Maybe I can sell locally.
Okay,
Kind of see where it is. But you try and then it doesn't work. Then you continue to sell to the US, right? So
I think
kind of where
makes sense. I think fair statement. I
Yeah.
think okay, but to be honest, I think a reason also I didn't want to honor venture locally is because I think the market size is small. 4-5 billion population here. Malaysia maybe 20. So US was like 400 million people, huge market size. And I have the strong belief that, when you move into the bigger market size, if you have success, it is amplified, right? Rather than, trying to carve out, not to say you can't be successful in Singapore, but it was just, I think, really easier back then. We learned from Americans, we sold the same style. So it's different, I would say. And I mean, just think about it. Have you seen those Thailand infomercials?
Yeah.
Always different from Singapore style, right? So I think every country has a different way of selling. So you need to understand and build a whole marketing team just to sell to people in different cultures and countries. So since I was already in US and it was a big market, we honestly didn't really consider even selling locally.
And I always tell my friends, if I'm going to start like a direct-to-consumer brand, I will explore doing it in Thailand. Right, I think the cost to create the content and just kind of push it out there, and the brand is quite good, right? So that's a different discussion. Okay, if I really started, y'all will know.
Yeah, then I'll find you. Also.
Yes. But long story around, right? How do you then end up with this brand that you've built at this point in time?
So I think we started selling self-help development stuff until 2015. Right? So that was like 2007 to 2015. And I realized that we kind of capped out. I was doing maybe about 4.5 million US a year, maybe 15 staff, team members. And I look around the region, like my friends or acquaintances or competitors. We know we're not Anthony Robbins, we're not Jack Canfield, chicken soup guy. The biggest player beyond that was maybe doing 30 million a year. So we were like, it was harder for us to grow. And then I realized, okay, I had a mentor that actually told us, the health market is bigger. So that's where we started, eventually started trying to sell supplements because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Yeah. And I think more mainstream, like you sell supplements is more mainstream than selling ebook, right? So 2015, we actually made a pivot, 100% into health supplements and then beauty products. And that's where we changed our name from last time Success Vantage, because more personal development, to Trugenics.
Okay, so you took the same theme.
Yes.
Can I just kind of dig a little bit deeper into the whole, supplement is a more mainstream market, right? It's kind of there, but it's not always easy to play in the mainstream market, right? Sometimes you play in a niche market.
Yes.
It's actually quite advantagegeous.
Yes, that's true.
Dominant in the space.
Yes, you're right.
So what is there a struggle kind of entering into a more mainstream market?
Okay, so whatever you said is perfectly true. I think.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think the thing about us is that honestly, right, my earlier success in business was more about look at what is working now, model people, and then just model them or copy a bit.
It works. Copy is
works.
right.
Yes,
Copy is right.
So we always use that methodology first. We see who is successful. We dig in deep. We buy through their products. We understand how they do it. And we just copy. It's not like we're creating a Google, a Tesla, or, we're just trying to sell product. So that has done very well for us. And of course, after you copy, you hit some success, then you innovate. You find ways to be different, and that's how you stand out. But I think when you model success, businesses, stories, you have a higher chance of success that way. So that's how we, I think, got some success. Plus, in addition to that, because we're in the personal development market, somehow our demographic of our customers then were about 30 to 40, 50. Okay, I thought that maybe it would be a more younger yuppie crowd, but actually apparently no. Maybe because they're more buying power I think.
No, yuppie no money lah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why they cannot buy supplements. It's the same. It's the same with us, right? Our audience, where they are, they look for these kind of things, right?
Correct,
so there is some natural trajectory.
So we have a database of customers, prospects. So when we had supplements, we could send emails to that existing database, and it didn't translate 100%, but it was okay. Maybe 50% of the people resonated, so we could get initial sales just easily rather than from scratch.
That's
so it wasn't say I changed the whole business overnight. It was we've been selling online to this demo for this kind of topics, and we switched to health, and we could transfer some of the assets over. So it was easier for us, I'll be honest.
Nice. But then I'm sure other than that, there are a lot of other business challenges.
Sure,
Right?
sure,
It's
sure.
not just like, oh, my email open rate is at 50%,
Yes, 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 yes.
and then we close through. There are all these other fulfillment challenges.
Yes,
You sell
fulfillment.
digital product and you sell
yeah,
like
yeah.
physical delivery.
Oh,
It's
yes.
a different thing.
Yes.
And then your payment structures, everything become harder. Maybe you can kind of share with us a little bit more.
Sure. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. We actually got, I think when you're selling digital, there's no product fulfillment is download. Versus, so we actually started learning, got cost of goods, inventory, you need to forecast, you overbuy, then nobody buy, then throw away.
Yeah.
So I think that there was definitely a lot of learning challenges at the start on how to manage and apply some formulas to how much inventory should you take on. And of course, when you're just starting out, the manufacturers don't know you, and then what are the payment terms, and then you also, to be honest, when we first bought our first few supplements, we just Google and see who to buy from online. We never met the manufacturer. It was only like maybe 3 years down the road. Then I traveled US, then I went to see them.
Shit, isn't that quite risky?
Looking
back today, knowing what you know, will you do that again?
Probably not. Probably have few ways to verify, double check, audits. Maybe hire a consultant there to go and audit them. Yes, but I think back then what you don't know doesn't hurt Naive. I thought to be honest that time I thought everybody do it. Let's Google online. And, So along the way, I think as our numbers grew bigger, because we grew quite fast, like 4.5, I think it was 6.7, 21, 44 million. We started like hiring consultants, lawyers, and then that's where we implement a lot more protocols and all that paperwork. Like you can't just buy supplement and sell. You need to have a lot of checks and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if someone wants to kind of start something similar, direct to consumer, physical goods today, right?
Yes.
What would be some advice you have for them?
I think now the environment has changed quite a fair bit in the sense that there are some manufacturers that actually allow on-demand fulfillment. So it's not like dropshipping. I think dropshipping, you heard of dropshipping?
Yeah, I know dropshipping.
Yeah, but they mainly take from China and sell to maybe US, right?
Okay.
Sure. So I think in the last maybe 8 years, there was this phenomena where there's this thing called dropshipping, where a lot of, I would say, e-commerce vendors, they would go to fairs, in China or even Singapore where the fairs are, and they will actually purchase products maybe through Alibaba, right, or different platforms. I'm not familiar, and they would then just repackage, rebrand the product, and then when the consumer buys it in the US, they'll sell to the US market. From China, it will then ship to the consumer, right? So it's called drop shipping because they don't have to come out money to buy the product at the start. So only when they sell, so it's like consignment. When they sell a product, then they would send the info to the China side, pay the money, and then it will be shipped to the US side. Yeah. So I think quite a couple of years back, there was a lot of people doing drop shipping. Right. Yeah. So this on-demand, what I talk about on-demand fulfillment is more like from China ship US very long. So a lot of if it's not fast enough, customers would be unhappy, file chargebacks, refunds, and that's where it gets tricky, hard to make money. So that's why with this on-demand model, there are manufacturers in the US. So for supplements there are, for beauty I think there are. So some product lines, they have this kind of manufacturers whereby same thing, you can do a deal with them. There's a minimum quota. You should, based on what the inventory they have, you have to find unique ones. You want to sell vitamin C. Vitamin C cannot fight. I mean, you must try and find unique angles, positioning.
Come out with a new vitamin.
Yeah.
Don't.
Okay. And then I would say, so when a customer buys your product, then that fulfillment company in the US would stick on your brand and then ship it to the customer. So because US to US would be relatively faster. So so that's a good, I would say, if you don't have so much capital at the start to test proof of concept, maybe in some ways that's something to consider, right? And of course, I think there are still ways to purchase product from China if it's not supplements or whatnot, but then you need to have a higher capital uptake to test products, I guess. Yeah.
So what is the capital size that we should play with then?
Okay, I think if you use all this on demand, I think your capital will all go into marketing, branding, design, and then selling. So maybe 50 to 100 grand maybe. Okay. But once you go into inventory, you buy inventory, like for us, there's this thing called MOQ, minimum order quantity, right? So depending on the product we purchase, depending on the formula, if it's very unique, I remember we bought one, we had some Japanese probiotics inside. MOQ was 10,000. That one was a mistake. It was $12 per bottle. That one we broke our own benchmark. We usually try to keep it below 6 to 7 US, but that was 12. So we ordered 120,000, 10,000 bottles, 120 grand US. And that one tank lah.
Upfront.
Yeah, upfront. We only sold like 900 bottles and everything else we couldn't sell and throw away. Lah. I mean, if you go into custom, then of course, like I said, the MOQ could be 5,000 to about 10,000 lah, usually. Some companies give you lower MOQ, maybe 1,000, but then the cost, of course, they'll charge you higher. Lah.
Okay, fair. So you would recommend someone not to do custom from the start?
Unless
do a white label type of
I think
thing.
white label is easier. Custom, unless you have a unique idea that you're really passionate about, right? I think I'd rather...
Passion cannot fuel these things lah.
Passion lah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's some products that I love a lot. I take in myself, but they cannot sell. Then cannot sell means cannot sell. I have to retire. You know. So I think it's all about product to market fit lah. Yeah.
How do I then test the market such that I know that there's a market fit?
So I mean, there are a lot of ways. You can actually just run the marketing first, like. Whichever your skill set is, Facebook, you know, or platform like Amazon or whatever, Shopee. I think the key thing is you just put, if you don't mind, craft your brand, put an ad there, but don't have the product yet lah. Yeah. So what happens, of course, is customer might be a bit unhappy, but you can look at the data, and with maybe like 5,000 ad spend, you can see, okay, if I was to really run it, what would my return be? And of course, you need a sizable amount of data to determine that. You can't just spend $100 and say, oh, $100 makes me $300, and I can now go and throw in 100 grand. It doesn't scale that in the same method all the time. Yeah.
Okay. So what is then a sizable data to validate that there's a product, there is something here, this works, let's go for it?
I think it varies.
So if you start a new product line, you know, what will be your validation process? How is it going to be like?
Yeah, so for us ourselves, what we do is, because we have an internal database, a huge database of customers and prospects. So every time we launch a product, we have I'll call it a QC period. Within the next 2 weeks, our own database would start sending and promoting it. So we don't run Facebook ads first. We run our internal. So that's so what happens is that in that 2 weeks, as we run and promote our own product, we get data. We get like click-through rate, interest level, engagement on the email. We get the revenue per click, all those numbers. And then with those numbers, we then compare to all our historical numbers. Like, oh, is this above benchmark, below benchmark? Like recently we had one that tanked, and then but the previous one we had one that did very well. So with that data, we then move on to, okay, this one has legs, has promise. Then we now we pass this to potentially the Facebook team or the other media buyers to then scale. So, but that's our process. So if you are just starting out, a bit different now, I guess. Yeah. I think if you're starting out, you don't have your own database yet. So you either have to decide using Facebook or marketplaces. I think in that case, maybe at least 5,000 to 10,000. Because the thing is, you know, I don't know where you've seen that picture, like people, you know, digging for gold, and then the one like they give up just when the gold is just there. Yeah. So it's tricky, subjective. You want to know that you invested enough to, you know, dig for it, and then before you let go and say, okay, I tried this few things, my ads, and maybe even the page, like your promise, your positioning, you might need to tweak it a bit. So for us, we do, I think, something that has potential. We saw the initial data. We might run up to 50 grand to try it out and modify. But if you're lower budget, maybe 5-10 lah, because you also don't want to dump all your money and then on something that actually would never work.
Okay, give me a bit more color on the 5-10 grand. Essentially, you're telling us to, okay, you have this idea, you play around with it, you go in with 5,000 to 10,000 in the marketing budget.
Yes.
Right, and then from there, people join your wait list, you know, or like what's the situation? Maybe give us a
Okay, so for us, we're more, I think, we won't focus on waitlist. We're more focused on making the sale immediately.
So, because, immediately you want to...
Yes, because I think as an SME, when you're small, right, sales is very lifeblood.
Important.
Unless
cash flow is important, money flow is important.
Yes, because unless you like got VC funding, then you can do that other game. But if it's your own money, wow. If you spend 5,000, you earn 0, I think you give up already, right?
Fair.
So, so of course you don't just spend like that. You would plan out your ads, you know, your lender, you run like $100-200 a day, run it and see, okay, maybe I spend 200 and then it made back 100. Okay lah, lose 50%, but has potential. Got some people buying. You look at all the other sub matrix, and then you still run it right. To see, can you? Because it's rarely that you run something and just home run. I would say that happens maybe 5-10% of the time, and you're lucky. But if not, sometimes you need to tweak your advertisements, your positioning, your
change the keywords, play around.
Yes. Or even the page that's selling, maybe the copywriting didn't resonate, so you need to position it a bit different and then test. So that's what I mean by that 5,000 would be spent optimizing your ads, your lender, and to see as you get more data. But of course, if you spend 3,000 and you make 0 sale, that one, I think...
Then you can forget it.
That one means gone case. Sorry.
I think that's quite clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair. So that's how you would recommend people to kind of get it going.
Yes, if they were to spend on the marketing side first, because I mean, like you said, cash flow is important. If you don't make back some money, it means that really no legs, ma.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's like 0 to 1, right? Kind of getting to something, But now that you already have a business, I think for a lot of newer entrepreneurs, they don't get it. That managing money in itself is a problem. Right? There's a lot of ins and outs. Like just now you're talking about chargeback, refund. Oh my god, we used to sell a digital product, and the refund is like, it's a headache, because really? Refund is quite sad already, right? You gotta give the money back, and then it affects your running cash flow, it affects everything. But you still gotta do it, right? So there's all the ins and outs. How do you go about managing your cash? How do you manage your currency, your money?
So good question. So there are a lot of different ways. So I think for starters, we try to find ways to reduce our expenses in the way that we, use our cash. So, so we mainly sell to the US market, so we have USD. And I think, one good way that we actually, I think that was in 2017, we actually were introduced to a service called Worldfirst. And back then, I think it was really, really good because Worldfirst had fees and structures that were very beneficial to us. I remember when we first started using Worldfirst, I mean, compared to using the banks, it brought our costs down drastically because the bank wire transfers, especially to the US, was quite considerable. And I remember we saved over 6 figures in savings in a year.
Shit.
Yeah, that's why the guy who recommended it to us, I gave him
hamper 3 day.
I brought him to cut restaurant, everything. I give him a few meals a year. I said, you paid for it many times because he introduced. I guess I didn't know about such a service, and I was introduced to it, so it had cost saving. So I think it's very important.
6 figures.
To be careful, mindful about your expenses. There are definitely ways and different tools, platforms that you can use. For us, it was Worldfirst in this case to lower your expenses. Especially that one is like, 包价one. Sure can.
You definitely have to use it, right? You're doing it in the US, you're moving money in and out, and all that jazz.
So that's examples. You find tools that can, or sometimes also maybe with your vendors, you can try as your volume goes up, you must remember to negotiate fees. Because sometimes they won't outrightly say, hey, I want to reduce your fee already. So we have some vendors whereby when you're doing bigger volume, you can always ask, politely, hey, we've been working well. Can you help reduce our fees a bit? Is there anything? And what's the harm? Just ask them. And then we get some fees reduction or so sometimes.
Nice.
And when you talk about more about cash flow, I think you're right. Entrepreneurs, when we're starting out, honestly, I also very bad with that. And we learned a very bad lesson in 2019 with regards to cash flow management. I think because we were doing very well, I think 2018 was our peak. We're doing 44 million a year. And I think the good years make you lazy. They make you like complacent and think like you're king of the world. Everything is like...
You bring your Worldfirst guy, go makan. Spend too much time doing those things.
Because you think that because you're winning, you win not every year, you think it's going to continue. So actually in business, there's ups and downs. So at that time, we didn't have good forecasting methodologies. Like we didn't forecast our cash flow, P&L. Now we do it 1 year running, continuous 1 year running. So back then, we were changing our business model a little bit. So what happened was we used to launch about 8 products a year, 8 to 10, but we cut it down to like 2 in 1.5 years because we were doing a lot of compliance, making sure our protocols are tight. No more the operation stuff, not selling. Our numbers dropped drastically, and I was thinking, okay, I lose 100, 200 grand a month. We got a few million, can last like 1-2 years, even without making money. But that's P&L, profit and loss, not cash flow.
Yes.
So
I can book a lot of sales.
Yes.
Right? I can register my deliverables. Sales, but the cash haven't come in.
Correct.
Right?
And also inventory. Inventory when you buy is not under expenses. It's only when you sell then it's some accounting thing now. I'm not very good with that. My accounting got D. What happened was, although I'm losing like 100k, 200k a month, then suddenly my cash dropped by $500,000 in a month. I'm like, wow, that was quite, to be honest, quite stressful because I'm like, if it drops $500,000 every month, within 7-8 months, I'm wiped out already. So that was in late 2019. And then that's why in 2020, we actually, had to restructure not just once, but actually 2 times.
Shit.
So it was very painful. Yes. It was the first and second restructuring exercise that we did with the company. I was very new to it. I think it's one thing to let not so good team members go, but it's another thing when you have to let good people go, right?
So coconuts, is it new year, new me? I sure hope you're inspired and pumped by Elvin from True Genix. I think there are a lot of interesting things happening in the e-commerce space. What do you want to sell? Who do you want to sell to? So if this year you are looking to do business, especially in the e-commerce space, great news. Worldfirst is giving all of you an exclusive promo to kickstart your global business journey. For all new users, your first 10 business transactions on Worldfirst will be free, which can add up to quite a significant cost depending on what you do. Of course, terms and conditions apply, but do check out the link in the description box below and use code WFTFC02 and join more than 1 million other business owners on Worldfirst. Once again, I repeat, use code WFTFC02. Link is in the description box below. How will you do it again now? I mean, forecasting is a thing. You know, getting some sort of clarity forefront. But to be fair, forecasting is a very if like 0 to 1, 1 to 10, forecasting is a bit like a 10 to 100 type of situation.
Yes, it's also tricky, it's subjective.
Yeah.
But I think what forecasting does is that if once you forecast it, then you monitor the actual and how it behaves. So with forecasting now, what will happen is we'll get the warning way in advance, much earlier at least. So it won't be oh no, we're down to from millions down to 600 grand in the bank. That was the lowest point, and we need about 700 just to operate, money in, money out. That was very a shock to us, and especially when we had to, team members in the company were saying they didn't know the company was doing bad. Only some of the leaders knew. So it was a very shocking thing when we had to restructure. I remember the first round, the leaders had to do it, and then the second round because I think it was too much for the leaders because there was a lot of crying, a lot of upset people. So second round, the next batch of people, I did it myself. And I remember my leaders were also a bit affected. They knew I was affected, so they actually, I remember they sent me a Wagyu burger, I remember, for Wolf Burgers. I love burgers. They sent it to my house, just to cheer me up a bit. But so I think, like you said, looking back, it's about being financially prudent, your cash flow, being careful. We do now a lot of simulations, meaning that we simulate if this happens, worst case scenario, average case scenario, good case scenario, so that we are also prepared. Okay, if worst case happens, what do we need to do? So we have all the action plan A, B, and C to activate if that happens, so that it won't be so last minute and got chance to revive.
Fair. And I think capital deployment is also quite an important thing, right? Which we've already kind of talked a little bit about, testing the product, going with it and all that. Yeah.
So like I said, you must be, I think sometimes entrepreneurs, when they do well, make more money, they be a bit more not so prudent.
Well, inflated right? The ego bigger eat more burger everything, right?
I think once, you need to have self-awareness that.
No, but I think it's part and parcel of the game, right?
The learning process.
Yeah, and then when the bubble pops, right, then you come back to reality. Then the next round you're more managed.
Yes.
Right.
But then pop a few times up and down. So many years. There are sometimes up and down. So you learn, you become better.
But that's also why you're the team of the year, apparently.
Oh yes. Because so after that happened, it was very tough for us. I mean, I think let go 30 plus in Singapore side. Overall, I think we reduced staff count by about 30%. We're still negative every month. So what happened in that year 2020 was I actually went out to join my friend's seminar company. I did coaching. So I don't know whether you saw on YouTube. I was there teaching people how to do e-commerce. So that's not something that I like to do because I don't want to be those fake guru, And of course, the thing is, at the end of the day, no matter how you teach people, the success rate of people who succeed online is very low. Like in any endeavor, like entrepreneurs, business owners, or anything you do, it's only a small percentage will succeed. But I had to do that. So, but through that, thankfully, I managed to draw in about $500,000 in cash flow profits to the company to for that time period.
Oh, so you were monetizing your time
to
kind of tahan for the whole group.
Yes, while the group then executed on the plan that we had moving forward. So thankfully, I think by August, I remember August 2020, we turned it around, meaning the team turned it around while I was still injecting money, training. And then from then on, 2020 was good already. We managed to come back. So all the different teams, that's why we won Team of the Year, because I think kudos to the leaders that stuck by us. Because I don't know whether you can experience it before. When you have a sinking ship, the people, you let a lot of people go already. The people left on also very worried, right? Can stay on or not. And we definitely lost some good people as well.
The chatter kills.
Yes. So they need to believe in you, your vision, and the plan moving forward that will succeed, considering that before that you failed them already. And that's why, very, very happy that we were able to win that award. And it was really kudos to them, the team.
Can you help me elaborate a little bit more on the management situation? Like when you're firing people, like people leave.
Restructure lah, don't say fire.
Okay, restructure. Right sizing. It's
right
called right
sizing.
sizing. Tak boleh
Yes,
tahan,
exactly.
But anyway, right sizing, you get to a situation, and you were talking about like people not feeling confident in you anymore,
Yes.
right? And then leaving. It's such an entrepreneur thing. It's so common,
yes.
right? But how do you stabilize the ship? How do you stabilize yourself? How do you get the whole thing together? Like what are some tangible steps that you personally have tried that works?
Yes. So at that time when you lost trust with majority, I think you just have to be very upfront with the rest of them. You have to apologize, say what went wrong. You have to be truthful, to share like, okay, while some things are out of control, you could have, as the CEO, you should have seen something coming, right? So that's the first step, to apologize and to show sincerity that it's really your fault. And then the next thing is to then craft up and share them what's the plan moving forward and why you think it was viable, and share data and stats. So for example, in that case, we stopped new product launches like to 2 in 1.5 years, where previously we were doing 8 to 10 a year. We knew based on data that new product launches are the lifeblood of the company, brings in new sales. Out of the 8 or 10 that we launch, not everything will be a product market fit. But once you have one of them that is a big winner, that big winner brings in easily, 400,000-500,000 every month. So that floats everything else. So, but the thing is, if you only got 2 shots and both done are duds, then boleh ma. But if you have 8, one of them will be a hit ma, based on mathematics, right? Probability. Yeah. So we shared that with them and said, are you ready? Share the different leaders first. So we talked to leaders first. Are you ready to execute on this plan? If you can, then we can move forward lah. Because the leaders need to be convinced.
Yeah.
Yes, and they also had access to that data. They know. They say yes. And then you also need to ask them, can we do back so many launches? So a lot of the leaders and the teams, like they had to OT, work a lot, because leaner team, to then got back to like launching a lot of products. So I remember by about, I think July 2020, we started launching a new product every single month. Boom. July one new product, August one new product, September new product. Yeah, but all those new products bombed actually, to be honest. That first half year until December, all tanked. So of course, again, but thankfully, 2021, January, the product was a hit. One of our products was a hit, and then that floated everything. Because again, law of numbers.
Yeah, a lot of large numbers.
Yeah. So getting the core leaders first, the core leaders would then talk to their teams and try to convince them. And we also started implementing something new, whereby to have transparency, because they all talk about no transparency at the start. So every week now, since then, we have something called the CEO message, whereby I'll shoot a short video in the Monday of every week, sharing them, not the exact sales numbers, but generally, are we on target? Are we not on target? Sharing little wins like, oh, we just finalized the product name of this product and we're moving ahead. And then this team has just done better than usual or worse than usual. So these little snippets are like 2-3 minutes every week. And I think that maybe shared with the team, the whole company, because we're people worldwide as well, that we were more transparent, willing to share data so that they won't be in for a rude shock. So I think that over time helped build some trust. Okay. I would hope so.
I mean, you've turned it around, right? In that sense.
Well, we turned it around, I think.
Yeah, you guys turned it around. So definitely there's some truth to the execution, which I think is very fair. Okay, so maybe last question, right? In closing, right? Since you've gone through so many ups and downs, your cash flow changes big and small, over time, and your team is everywhere. Your clients are in the US, and then your suppliers are anywhere, right? So why until now? In 2017 you used Worldfirst, right?
Yeah.
But why until now you're still using Worldfirst? Now got a lot of providers already, right?
Yes.
So like, why do you still stick to this brand? And what is the advantage that you experience?
Okay, so we mainly sell in the US, and of course, our accounts with Worldfirst are mainly for USD denominations. I think throughout the years, we're still using Worldfirst because I think their service, the platform has been quite seamless. And to be honest, there are a lot of competitors, like you said, in the marketplace right now. We did try some of them. But I think Worldfirst has been very stable, whereby when we do those cross-border transactions to our vendors, I would say 99% of them are okay, no issue. For some of them, sometimes there's a little bit of hiccups, and then the finance team got to go and check it out again. So we like that feature from Worldfirst being very dependable. Their rates are still quite low, decently low, so there are cost savings as well. And of course, you also want, I think, reputable company, like I think they are backed by Ant Financial now.
Mm.
Because I mean, we have sometimes millions of dollars in their account. So if it's a small company,
Yeah,
then
it's like,
they
don't know.
toh, then I don't know how.
Yeah, a bit weird.
And then we also small company, we
Yeah.
can't afford to lose.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to have a well-established company that has good competitive rates. So that's why we still use Worldfirst to this day.
Fair. No, and I think for a lot of newer entrepreneurs, they need to understand that as you kind of grow,
Yes.
things like latency, things like trustability
Oh, yeah.
of your back-end software, your payment provider, all these things become increasingly important.
Yes, it's not just the cheapest.
Yeah, it's not just the cheapest anymore.
You pay a higher price in the
It's
end.
true. When
Yes.
your server is down for that
Yes.
few hours, and then
Yes.
you didn't realize until the questions come in.
Ah,
You're
yes.
like, oh my god, you're gonna lose a lot.
So you need good rates and you say latency and reliability.
Great, love it.
Yeah.
Any last tips for entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs,
Aspiring
high functioning corporate individuals that are looking to start e-commerce? What tip do you have?
Okay, I would say not only tip, but I say definitely now. I think based on data I saw, about 19% of world retail is now online, and every year it's growing. I'm sure everyone knows it will continue to grow. It's not even 50%. So there's huge opportunity for online. In fact, I don't even think it's online. In fact, in future, I mean, everyone's buying through mobile, right? I'm actually, for myself, I'm thinking, when would potentially Apple or Android actually cut out the Facebook, TikToks, the middlemen, and actually maybe sell it through the mobile phones directly because they have so big market share. So I think if you're aspiring to start an e-commerce business, you should, if you're busy, you have a high corporate flyer, I think you should just count your numbers, see how much you can invest in your venture, right? And then if you can, try to explore and work with partners that could, accelerate your learning curve. Right? For example, if there are fulfillment partners that can help you pick and pack where you're busy because you don't want to be picking and packing yourself, right? And the cost, the value that you earn per hour will be higher than if you were packing. So you need to take that into consideration. I would also suggest that if you don't have experience with e-commerce, you should and must find mentors. For me, a lot of growth accelerated through finding mentors. I mean, just like, like now, I'm trying to lose weight, so I find a PT. The person's an expert would get you more optimized, maximized results, right? So similarly for e-commerce, if you can find a mentor, and of course it's not easy to find because sometimes they're also busy, right? So if you can find one, it will accelerate your learning curve. So go for courses, attend events. There are a lot, I think, e-commerce expos. I think recently there was a...
there was one, yes.
So I would say there's some advice I have.
Great, cool. Yeah, we can weight loss together.
Okay, cool.
Okay. And that's a wrap. Thank you, guys.